What's up, everybody? Archimedes here, and I bet you I could convince you that Half-Life 3 not only has been worked on, created, but has already been made, and Valve is just waiting for the right time to release it. Now, a lot of people will be laughing at this and being like, bullshit, this is just another theory. Yes, a couple of these are theories, but a couple of them are just like you can't deny. As well, as a company's perspective, you gotta ask yourself, like, what would you do if you were Valve? And they are like mad scientists. You gotta think of them that way as well. So I do have 5 reasons, the least to most biggest reason pretty much why I'm convinced that Half-Life 3 has not only been made, they are making it, or they are in the midst of it, or they're near done of it, just because of these facts I will tell you. Now, number 5, this is the least reason right here. Valve themselves never once stated, and this is from Gabe himself, that they're done with making video games. Now, they never once stated that they are done making single-player games or video games in general. They actually have gone on record saying they are in the midst of single-player games at the moment, and that could be Half-Life 3. For all we know, they has actually gone and stated this. They have never once said that they're done. And you hear too much memes about people saying, "Oh, Valve is just make money. They don't make games," which, yeah. For the past couple of years, that's all they've been doing is making money, but they've also done a few other things, and that's what I'm going to go on as well here. Gabe himself has actually said that they're in the midst of making of Half-Life 3. He said it pretty much, not directly though. If you look at the way there's been that, if you look up that video reel, I know everybody's seen it, it's been in here. There, you can go in there. Gabe going on a rant, or like of all the years of him saying that they're eventually releasing Okay, we have to push out Half-Life 2 Episode 3. After Half-Life 2 Episode 3 arc's finished, we are gonna go and move on into the next thing we are doing. But that never happened. Why is that? Simply because they looked at the company and said, well, we don't want to do these as episodics. We want to actually, make a full-length game because of what the reviews of episode 1, I'm pretty sure that's a good reason why. Gabe himself even states that you will never get Half-Life 3 if you hate him. That is actual, statements that he has done. And over the years, he changes from episode 3 to Half-Life 3 and starts not talking about it. Why? Simply because of the marketing, and he does not want to give out anything. There's a reason why. It's because Valve has been hacked before. When they stated that Half-Life 2 was going to be released within the next year, they were hacked nearly instantly, and it screwed a lot of them, but it sort of saved Half-Life in the same way, and that's a whole different video. But you look it up, you can see it yourself. Now, a lot of people are coming here thinking that they could just type in Mark Laylod, blah, blah, blah. This is, totally against everything you say right there. No. Everybody doesn't understand that there are writers at Valve. A lot of writers. There's 360, I believe, employees, and I'm pretty sure there's quite a few writers in there, and they're not all working on Dota 2 and Counter-Strike and Steam for writing. That's dumb. I really doubt that any company will just have people sit around and do absolutely nothing. Yes, there's writer there, and they're doing something there, of course. Now, Mark Laylod, I might see his last name wrong. I apologize if I am. But the Mark Laylod story, people don't understand, that was his version of Half-Life that he released. He knew that Valve was never going to release his version of Half-Life. Why? Well, because Valve had to remake it, because he wasn't there overseeing it anymore. Yes, he has his own notes, and he even stated when he left Valve that he made it to where people could write from what he has. Of course, he's gonna have his own twists and thoughts in it that are completely different, and that's probably what we saw in the what we saw in his episode 3, blah blah blah. We saw that he wanted to release his version. He probably got contacted from somebody in Valve, and they told him that we are never going to release your version of it. We had to remake it completely, which would be completely understandable why it's taking so long to make this game, because they've probably scrapped it and remade it quite a few times. And people that believe that they will not do that, look at Team Fortress 2. It took them 9 years to make because they remade it multiple times. Yes, this took a lot longer, but this is a lot more pressured of a game than Team Fortress 2. Half-Life 3 has to be perfect, and Valve knows that. They totally know that. They're not going to release it until it is perfect. But there's a reason why they haven't released it as well too. And then it comes up to VR is the number 2 reason why here. Now, a lot of people are not realizing that there is a shit ton of VR equipment, and VR is being pushed harder than anything else at the moment in gaming, but there is not a single AAA amazing game on VR yet. Why is that? I am honestly convinced that the world is sort of waiting for Valve to release something that is going to convince them that VR is amazing, because that's Valve, for what I've seen over the 10 years, have been the biggest pushers of VR. Not only did they push VR, but they wanted to push console versions of it so they know that they can run their VR in games. A lot of people know that Steambox was a fail. Yes, it was totally a fail because there was no market for it. There was console players didn't understand what they had it for, and PC gamers didn't need it. So what the thing is, it makes it to where games don't halt. They're not stopped in the same like years. Like 360, Xbox 360 was a 10-year period, and Valve saw that, and they saw that that was a problem in gaming. That the computer gaming in that 10-year period increased tenfold, while console gaming was stuck behind. And then they made the huge mistake of Xbox One and PlayStation 4, which Valve even said, Gabe him says that is not the right technology that they are releasing, that they need to wait, and that's what happened. It bit him in the ass. Even though it probably made them more money, it still bit him in the ass because they had to make a second console with a relatively quick time too. They really did. So, but VR, I can tell you right now, is not just a gimmick, okay? It is actually going to be the mainstream thing. And a lot of people don't believe that, but I've had people that, there's the difference. The people that haven't actually played true VR don't understand how it feels. You do feel you're inside the game. And I actually have a little stupid podcast about this with my friend, saying how he played VR, and he said he felt like he was inside the game. And a lot of people don't understand is that Valve are innovators. They want the next best thing. They're not going to release Half-Life 3 until they know this is going to be something different. Not the same flat screen that we've been doing for the fucking past. Yeah, a lot of people will be like, oh, well, I like it how this guy just come and sit down and play. Yes, but Valve realizes that you have to adapt and change the way video gaming is. So I'm pretty sure a while back ago, while they're in the midst of episode 3, they were sitting here saying, do we want to be making the same things over and over again that everybody else is doing, or do we want to push the next limits that we can? And I'm pretty sure Valve looks at themselves as those mad scientists that they play as. I'm pretty sure they think of themselves as Aperture or, Black Mesa, like being able to just do what they want with all the money they want. I am convinced that's what they're doing. Alright. Last thing, number 1 reason why I believe that not only is Valve in the midst of making it, or they've already made it, is the Source 2 engine. What a lot of people do not remember is that Source 2 was announced quite a bit ago. It wasn't officially completely announced directly by Valve, but it's there. Dota 2 themselves, they have literally ported it from Dota 2, original Source to Source 2. It's there. Source 2 is existence. What a lot of people not putting together is the fact that there is absolutely no AAA game on the Source 2 engine. Why is that? What the hell is happening, Valve? You have this engine that you probably know it's amazing and you're waiting back, or they doing what they've been doing for years on end. The original Half-Life was made coexistent with the Gold Source. It wasn't just that they made Gold Source and then boom, made Half-Life. No, they made Half-Life and Gold Source put together. Same exact thing with the Source engine. They didn't just make the Source engine and then make Half-Life. They made the games together. They built the engine around Half-Life and Source, and that's the reason why all these games came around it, because of the physics of the engine, pretty much. And a lot of people don't see that and don't understand that the reason why Source 2 has not been released yet is because they're waiting to showcase it with the one video game that could truly show the power of Source 2. And it's going to be on VR, because Source 2, of course, is completely around VR. Yes, they say you could do exactly, it's pretty much you could do either Source or Source 2. That's what Gabe is. There are videos of Gabe talking about how Source 2 is going to be completely free to play game. So, I would like you guys to go ahead and tell me that this does not convince you whatsoever that Half-Life 3 is either being made or being close to being made, because this, I mean, come on now, you got to really look at this and think like, this got to be something here. There's like, Valve is not just have 360 fucking people working on Steam, CS:GO, and you know, just they're not on Dota 2. They're not just sitting there working on that. They are freaking working on something big to push the limits of gaming. Alright, my name is Archimedes. Please like and subscribe if you did like my video. I know I was a little stuttery and a little bit messed up on certain parts, but I'm pretty damn sure a lot of my points are valid. You can research them yourself and you will find them yourself. We'll be talking later about certain other different types of video games and how we are, but go ahead and like it, subscribe, and enjoy. Archimedes out.